guys should clap when you're clapping your hands, and I bet the microphone's gone fuzzy. Hi guys, how you all doing? I know it's a bit early again tonight. Hi John, hi Sam, hi Caroline, hi Mac. Yeah. Oh, what a week, eh? What a week. Again, as usual, rules apply. We've still got a couple of minutes to go before it's officially 2000 hours. And of course, tonight I am going to delve my hand into the bag. Oh, do you know what? I've got to find another way of doing giveaways because I never thought this through. So it's a 500 subscriber giveaway. In there are 500 pieces of paper, each with a name handwritten. It's not that bad. Sitting there going through my subscriber list. Cut that out. Cut that out. Oh well, there we go. Anyhow, it's 500 odd names in there, all on little bits of paper, little tiny bits of paper. And then we shake up. Evening, Rick. Hey, Lee Michael. So again, yeah. So if any of you, hi Mickey Lovegrove. So if any of you are ever just thinking about doing a giveaway or something, and you want to do it as a random selection, yeah, find another way other than writing all the names down on tiny little bits of paper, folding them up, and putting them in a bag. that takes a lot longer than you would think. And yeah, so you can imagine how that day went. Lovely, lovely. Anyhow, so who we got? Lee, yeah, hi mate. Rick, hi mate. Mickey Lovegrove, yeah. Ah, brilliant, brilliant. Hope you're all good. Hope you're all good. So anyhow, first things, welcome to my inn. It is the Sunday Social. I'll shut that door. It is the Sunday Social, and I believe the Hampshire Hog Hunters are in my venue. So welcome, guys. Welcome, Dirty Faces. So yeah, what we're going to do tonight. So yeah, as we see on the thing, I want to talk a bit about fire tonight, but I'm not going to ramble all night about fire. It's just one I like to get off my chest. Might have to do that, Mike. You might have to look into actually spending some money and getting an app rather than buying gadgets to show you guys. Yeah, the car is fixed. The car is back on the road, and this week I am out with Mac on a little adventure, which will get filmed, which will come up for you guys. And Rick, I will hopefully be heading. No, it's not Rick. Sorry, Jim. Jim, I'll hopefully be able to arrange to come down to your end. And for everybody else, I've said, yeah, once the car's sorted, I'll get out and meet up with you. Brilliant. Do excuse me burping there. The lovely Kaz made a Sunday roast for me today, and it had all the trimmings. I mean, all the trimmings. And did I stuff myself? Yes. The old fart has had to have a lay down for half an hour. It was. Anyhow, so let's get on to intros. I've made a note on my bit of paper here. Don't swing your chair. Hopefully the image is a bit clearer now. We've changed the settings on the camera, and so hopefully you can all hear me fine, and it's looking good. Lee Michael just had a Chinese curry. Can't go wrong with a Chinese curry. Yeah. So anyhow, in fact, actually, before I do that, there's one. Yeah, I wasn't going to do it, but I will do it. Right, guys, those of you, especially you guys that are ex, yeah, tomorrow's 10th anniversary of the passing of Lee Rigby, who was a drummer, a machine gunner with the 2nd Battalion, Royal Regiment of Fusiliers, who was murdered in London by cowards. Takes a car to make a man just knock a man down and then get out and beat him. But still, won't get into the politics and all that. But I was quite surprised to see it's 10 years on. Left behind his son, Scotty. So, yeah, what can you say? So, Lee, wherever you are, hope the light is shining for you, my friend. And, yeah, so we shall pour cider. And that is the saddest I'm going to be tonight. Beyond that, we'll try and make it a cheery evening because it's Sunday and people have to mana. I tell you what, I nearly wet myself when I first saw you come up with that. I was like, mana. Yeah, now I get it. So you're of a certain age, aren't you? Yes. Sunday evening, sat in front of the TV, or for those that are old enough to remember a summer in the late 70s where Mana was the song that stayed in the charts for many, many weeks. I was riding a skateboard then, remember it well. Right, so try and follow some of these, try and keep up with this. I've sped up the chat a little bit as well on the settings. Just going to whiz past and I'll be sitting there doing that. So, second thing I'd like to say to you all, our friend Sam had his channel hacked and abused, and so has given up with that. But he is back. Okay, he's lost all his subscribers. Okay, you can't. If you lose your channel or your channel gets hacked, you can't just turn around and fire them all across. If you're lucky and you've got their information, you can get them details and say, guys, I'm now such and such. But put the word out. Sam's Bushcraft is no more. However, he has risen, I say, like a phoenix, burst forth from the Yorkshire moors, showering the heath with his glowing lights, and become Yorkshire Outdoors and Survival. So, Sam, welcome back, and I hope it grows for you as fast as possible, my friend. So those of you who, if you've not seen him, yeah, please go have a look at Yorkshire Outdoors and Survival, and yeah, give him a like, subscribe to him. He's a good lad. So anyhow, on to that. Other than that, cider tonight. The cider tonight is a Thatcher's Haze wine. I went into Morrison's, went to get some shopping, and there's a little guy. We all see him. You go in the supermarket, there's a little guy sitting there. Would you like a sample? Would you like a sample? He was sitting there going, would you like a sample? Nice guy. And I just sort of looked him up and down and went, okay then. Yeah, I'm driving, I won't. Kaz probably will. But he was chatting, he was nice. Yeah, I understand. I said, he said, everybody's busy, it's a nightmare. And then he reached out and he gave me one of these to hang around my neck. And I said, I'm going to show people that on my channel. Because that has got exactly what we were talking about the other week. So it's now got my emergency compass on it. It's got my little mini tool. It's got a fire striker, and most important, it's got a whistle. It all sits around my neck. In fact, here's a tip for you guys. I'm not going to do it with the new camera. If you're going to lanyard it around your neck, make it long enough that it actually pretty much comes to your belly button. Because on the majority of us, your belly button is soft enough, and your stomach is soft enough to handle that equipment being there. Okay, if you put it over your sternum or over your ribs and you go for a perler, all that is going to come back and smack you, and it's going to damage bone, and it will hurt even if it doesn't break something. So actually drop it down below your diaphragm, around your tummy button's usually pretty good, and it's there for emergencies. So anyhow, I said I would. Guy from Thatcher's, yeah, I'm drinking yours tonight. And Thatcher's Brewery, yeah, what you want to do, start chucking those out there for the Bushcraft and Survival guys. Come and do some of the events, because we'll all have them off you. Yeah. So, yeah. Handle equipment easy, Tiger. Yeah. Yeah. So anyhow, what are we on to with that now? Where am I on to that? That's the cider. So I've done what I said I'd have to do for him. That's that done. I'm not going to do the draw just yet. I'm going to, like I do on TV, I'm not going to make you wait till the very, very end. No, sod that. But I'm going to do it in a bit. So the next thing is, as per Sundays, it is the social Sunday. It's my treat of the week. So any of you out there that are non-smokers that could possibly be offended by this, I do apologise. However, this is my bar. This is my venue. It's my rules. I would smoke in my bar if I wish. I shall light my cigar. I shall inhale my cigar. I shall take a deep breath. I shall lift my glass to you all, ladies and gentlemen. And before anybody says anything, it's a cloudy cider. It's actually a sweet cloudy cider, which is very, very pleasant. Very pleasant. Right, I've also got an apology to make this week. Okay, I put out a video this week, cheapest box stove on Amazon. And when I bought it from Amazon, I paid £6.49 for it, and obviously postage. They've gone up, which, again, if I can give that to any of you out there as a tip, in future when I do these things, what I will do, I shall make sure and say this was, at time of buying, costing so much, but Amazon seem to vary their prices so bleeding quickly. As soon as something becomes popular or it starts to sell well, they seem to stick their prices up. So it's a bit of a doodah, how shall we say. I'm just going to move that camera very slightly. There we go. Move that camera very slightly. So I do apologise for that. When I last looked this week, it was about 11 quid. Yes. Oh, you got to love a lanyard, Mikey. You got a 6-pack in the fridge. Oh, that's just blood orange side of your lanyard. You certainly did, Kath. Sam, you're really desperate for the patches, aren't you? As and when we can get it sorted out, I am. I've got somebody onto it at the moment, looking into it, and we will see about getting some patches knocked up for the Hampshire Hog Hunters. Okay, and they will be a sew-on patch. I'm not going to mess about with Velcro morale patches and that, because anybody that is actually sensibly tactically minded bloody hates Velcro. Okay, I'm just going to quietly get me a bit out of my pouch. Oops. So, every now and then, loads of McLaren ones. You're on the Nesquik, good man. I like Nesquik, especially if you're working out, you're doing lots of weights and things like that, or lots of training, lots of physicality. I can tell you, Nesquik chocolate, great for recovery, absolutely brilliant for the body. Mac, see, Mac's on it. He's sorted patches. Good man. That's what I like to see. Yeah, getting a sample on Sunday. Fantastic. I'm going to get it tattooed. I'm going to get it tattooed on my head next to the other tattoo. I might do that for charity, just for a giggle. Anyhow, guys, summer's here. Woohoo! Summer's here. Summer's still here. Woohoo! Yeah. So, what did I want to get onto this week? Fire. All right. And I know some people go think I'm hacking on and on and on about fire safety and all the rest of it. Okay, guys, let's get it straight. I have, so far, I sat down and worked it out the other day. At the age of 9, okay, I got caught in a stubble fire, all right, and actually climbed through a bramble bush and over a fence to get out. Okay, and that was watch that going away from me down the field without a problem. Then the wind changed and that caught us up. Now, 9 years old, me and about 5 other people, including a couple of adults, had to run for the fence line. And it frightened the life out of me, frightened the bejesus out of me, because it moved like you wouldn't believe. I cannot understate how dangerous fire is. Going forward a few years, we had a big forest fire near where I lived in Guildford, and that decimated the woodland. And it didn't come near the house or anything, but I can remember watching it from a distance. And then days later, whilst the wood was still smouldering. In fact, me, my brothers, and a couple of the other kids, we all went for a walk through there, and the desolation was absolutely horrific. Our camp had gone, our tree swing had shriveled away to nothing. It was a mess. So that woke me up and made me realise, it's what the damage is. And then obviously my time with the military, I've seen numerous heath fires, numerous range fires, and that. Not always started by the military. Funny enough, some never prove it, but it'd be quite interesting how the accusations of foreign tracer would go out. One of my roles was to actually check the ammunition before the guys used it, and there was no tracer in that ammunition. We had a tracer ban outside of the wet months, and it was adhered to rigidly. So again, some public have it in for the military, and they will go and do stupid things like light fires on the heath just to blame it on the military, because they get it into their head that if it happens enough, the military will be banned from the heath. They won't be allowed to train there anymore, and they'll get it shut down, and their house value will go up, and they'll never have to hear gunfire ever again. Yeah, you got to face all that. And as I've told you before now, I was about 36. It's on a range, working with a close protection team, and we were doing live fire. In actual fact, we were doing static turns and things, so they're changing between weapon systems and they're doing turns. So command might be 5 rounds kneeling. It's 5 rounds kneeling. Stand up, right? About face. So you're facing the wrong way, right? Begin 5 rounds prone, and it's done quite rapidly. And we were halfway through the practice, and it was a beautiful day. Halfway through the day shooting, and all of a sudden one of the guys shouts stop. And if any of the ex-military remember the old instruction, in the event that you see anything untoward or dangerous, you are to give the command stop, and everybody on the range will stop firing, make safe immediately. Well, one of the guys, stop, and that was it. RCOs, make safe. What have you seen? Smoke. And this smoke was probably, it's a 600 metre range, and it was probably about 400-500 metres further on, but just over a slight hill, and it's all heathland there. And I sort of said to the guys, right, that's it, grab beaters. So we'll run over to the vehicle. It was a little, what was it, Vauxhall something or other pickup that we had. We'll run over to it, grab loads of beaters, guys piled in the back, 4 or 5 guys in the cab like that, munched out onto heathland, and obviously we've stopped the firing on all the other ranges. Bibbled out, you could see the fire, drove up one of the tracks, parked next to the fire, leapt out, started beating it. And the knack when you're beating a fire like that, ideally, is to get behind it, get onto the burnt stuff. If you're then, the wind's always going to be blowing it off the black into the fresh. Okay, so you get round into the black, there's nothing for it to come back and burn on. It's also blowing the heat away from you, which means you can get in behind the fire line and beat it out, which is obviously what we were doing. Well, we were doing this for a while, and I suddenly realised that it would spread in a kidney shape. I was now actually burning up a slight slope towards the woods, the other side of which has got our vehicle parked. And it's only a narrow woods, 25-30 metres wide. It's all pine. And I so thought, cool, I'm responsible for that vehicle. If that catches fire, it's muggins here that's going to be sort of in the boot. Right. So give a couple of lads nearest to me a holler. I'm going to go move the vehicle, bring it round. All right, Mick, roger that. And off I go. Well, being a lot younger and a lot fitter, probably a little bit better looking, but I doubt it, I went charging off. And I thought, well, I'm going to run round the woods. There's a couple 100-metre detour. I'll just go straight through it. I can literally see the vehicle the other side. I'm going for it. And I barreled in. And these are, anybody's been on training areas, these old ancient woodlands, they old pine forests, they just get full of leaf litter and bloody years and years of debris and that. And it's all natural debris. It's old bracken and everything else. And as I'm belting along as fast as I can, I see a dip. And it was just a dip in front of me. And I thought probably an old scrape or maybe an old ditch line or something like that. But it's not very deep. And I leapt for it. Well, what I judged to be 3 or 4 feet wide, an easy leap for a sensible person, turned out to be actually 6 foot wide and about 4 feet deep. And it was a ditch, but it just filled up with dead bracken over the years. So the bracken had just built up into this mass of dead, dry, horrible, sticky, pokey bracken. And as I landed, my left foot hit the slope the other side, but the slope was like that, and my foot came down, hit like that, and then super rotated, and I literally touched my toes off my shin, and there was an almighty bang. And when people say to me, "What do you mean?" I said, "It went bang. It didn't go. It went bang. I felt it. I heard it. It went through me like a gunshot. Every nerve ending in my body went and fired, and I collapsed into the bottom of this ditch, and I laid there for a second or two and thought to myself, "You broke your fucking, excuse my language, you broke your leg." And that's what I thought I'd done. I thought, right, I broke my leg. Right, I need some help because I'm going to need a hand getting out of this ditch, and I'm going to have to get out. And then I think about it, well, nobody's going to hear me because they're all fighting the fire. Nobody's going to hear me in here. And this is going to be down to you, Mick. You have to crawl your way out. And I could smell the smoke from the fire, and that was the impetus. And it went through my head, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. The thought went through my head, this, I'm not going to burn to death. If I have to run on a bloodied stump and they have to amputate my leg, so be it. Okay? I'm not going to go like that. I'm getting the fuck out of here any way I physically can. Well, I managed to crawl up this bank, and it was a proper dig your hands in and claw your way out. Managed to support myself up on a tree, get myself upright. Took a bearing on the vehicle, and again, like I say, it wasn't that far, and managed to sort of stumble, hop, drag. Occasionally, an anybody's injured their leg knows what this is like. Occasionally, you're trying to go, and you know you shouldn't put your leg down, and every now and again, you can't help it. Your foot goes down, or you have to end up putting your weight on it. It was mildly uncomfortable. Let's play to say that. And I got to the vehicle, and got in the vehicle, managed to get myself sat in it. And I'm looking around, I'm like, well, what am I going to do about this? I'm in trouble now. Fire's going to be coming into that woodland in a minute. When it does hit that pine, I know it's going to rip through there, and I'm not going to avoid it. It's going to come through there like you wouldn't believe. And this vehicle ain't going to be much protection. It'll be some, but it won't be a lot. So it's a manual vehicle. It's a 4-wheel drive. I can't even, Fox. It will come to me in a minute. Like the Frontera, basically, but the pickup version. So I had a bit of a logical think about it. Put my right foot on the clutch, put it into low range, put it in second gear, fired it up, lit my foot up slowly on the clutch, got the vehicle moving, bang the clutch down, into third, slam my foot on the throttle, and away I go. And I managed to drive it out, round the fire, to where the guys are. By which time they got the hump. Because like, where did Mickey clear off to? He's taking his time getting that vehicle. He's gone for a cup of tea, isn't he? Anyhow, I pull up, and the guys had actually done a pretty good job. Got the majority of it put out, and more guys have come in. So by now they're like, right, there's enough people here to fight this. We've done our fair share. Let's get the hell out of it. So they've come wandering back to the pickup, and I'm sat in the pickup. And they're like, "You all right, mate?" And I said, "No, broke my leg." And at that point, I passed out. I honestly thought I broke my leg, and my body just kept me going until somebody got there enough until, like I say, pretty much I need help. And at that point, my mental state and my body pretty much went, they're here, I'm going to be all right, let them take over. That's the nearest I've ever come to death like that. And it wasn't a good experience. And that's why, ever since, I've spent the time every year, if I'm giving talks, whether it be to people about bushcraft, about survival, about being out in the woods, I'll always bring up the risk of fire. And every year around this time on this channel, you'll find me probably tell the same story and bring it up, as I don't ever want anybody else to go through that. Right? Wildfire is an unbelievably terrifying, powerful, fast thing. I've had so many people say to me, yeah, but I could put it out. Right? If it gets away from you, you ain't putting it out. And if it's getting away, if it's that dry, windy, and powerful that it gets away from you, you've got a very limited chance of getting away from it. Okay? And that's why I'm so hot on it. And that's why there was a video this week saying these are the systems used. I'm not saying don't light a fire when you're out there. Far from it. Okay? But I just want people to be safe. I would hate to think that anybody got injured that way. It's terrible. Anyhow, on that subject, a couple of things that are going to be coming up in the next week or two. I was, again, looking at stoves and systems that you won't have to worry too much about. I mean, any naked flame, whether it's gas or metal or whatever, is something you've got to be aware of. But Kaz was shopping around, and something for us to try this week is a little stove. And this little stove is designed to work on the large gas cans. So I'm going to give this a go and looking at this personally more like a van type home backup type stove stinging in a cupboard, because again, it's nice, it's small, it's all metal. It actually feels like a 1950s tin toy in construction, the little feet. So we'll give that a go, see how that goes. Might take that up the woods with us, Mac, see how that one cracks on. Evening, Ray. The other ones I've got there, I've got one of these sent to me, which I've got a couple of already. But again, another thing worth having in your kit, especially if you're doing a lot of fire lighting. Little extending pocket bellows. And you can pick these up for next to nothing on Wish, Amazon, all those. They're absolutely brilliant. You're speaking to the man that at one point in desperation actually grabbed a piece of petrol hose, that long, used it as a bellows on a fire. Sometimes you have to do. And another item she picked up, which I'm actually quite keen to try, and this, I believe, she'll bring it up there and tell me whether I'm right or not, I think came from Wish. Now, I know Wish, real cheap, tacky kind of rubbish, but again, I look. That's a good idea, Cass. Might see if I can dart that pigeon that's been nesting outside the window just here. That, we had a pigeon orgy for most of the week. You wouldn't think two birds could make so much noise. Okie doke. So another little folding stove. I'm not going to put it up in here, but again, this was dirt cheap. I mean, absolutely dirt cheap on Wish. I'm going to give it a go. One thing I have noticed about it already, and I will check it out and I will cook it and see what happens. I'm pretty sure the mesh is zinc coated. Now, As a blacksmith, I'm telling you, you don't want to cook on anything that's been zinc coated, and you definitely don't want to inhale any fumes off of anything that is galvanized or zinc coated. It's very, very toxic, will make you very, very ill. The way to deal with that is to get out into the open if you have to use it and burn the zinc off, which means getting it to a red. You literally got to get it red hot. Get a good blaze going under it, burn it off, and when you can scrape that metal back to just clean bare metal, you're laughing. Okay, you're laughing. Yeah. So that's those cook sets coming up. So how far into it are we? With 30 minutes to do? I'll give another 15 minutes to go. So go before we do the call out. All right, let's have a chat about what me and Mac are going to be doing this week. So summer stealth camps and summer wild camps, stealth camps. Stealth camps. Yeah. I'm a country lad, grew up in the countryside. You can stealth camp as hard as you like, but if you're on a farmer's land or a gamekeeper's grounds, it's going to know you're there. These people know every inch of their ground. They know everything that lives there. They know where all the jackdaws live. They know where all the crows are. They know where all the deer sit. They know where all the hares sit. They will spot any disturbance in the natural cycle and order of things like that. Yeah, so stealth camping. Don't get it wrong, it's not my thing. Okay, I can understand being stealthy, not being seen, not wanting other people to see you. After watching a video of an American gentleman camping on a mini roundabout, and when I say mini roundabout, I mean it was a mini roundabout, probably no more than 10 feet from side to side. I chuckled. If you ever see this, I'm not disrespecting you, mate, but crikey, you Yanks don't do roundabouts too well. And all you had was a few bushes to save your life. I mean, I wouldn't do it on some of the big roundabouts we've got here in the UK because the idiots will cut through the middle. And if not that, you'll get every possibility that some long haul lorry driver has crept in them bushes at some time, left a message and crept out again. And the other one, got to be aware of. Well, where do animals creep off to die after they've been clobbered by a car? Yeah, they're going to be under them bushes. So just, guys, bear it in mind. If you're going to go stealth camping and that, just bear these things in mind. Adrenaline is your best friend and your worst enemy. It certainly is. Yeah. Oh. So we're going to get into, me and Mac are going to do a bit of a chat about stealth camping. Okay. And again, I'm not anti-stealth camping. Don't get me wrong. All right. I'm not anti anybody camping. If you're not damaging the environment and you're being sensible about it, then I'll go and enjoy yourself. However, there are things in this country, in our countryside, and I expect a lot of other countrysides as well, you have to bear in mind. You have to bear in mind that if you're alongside farmers' fields and you're in a woods where he's not expecting anybody to be, he could be out there spraying. And some of the chemicals that can be sprayed, right? Even today, in today's health and safety rules and regulations and standards, you don't want to be breathing them. You definitely don't want to be coated with them. The other thing is, it might just be a woods to you. Okay, that could be a conservation area that you don't know about. It could be a scientific research area. There's a lot of those in the UK. They tend not to tell people what they're doing there. There's all sorts of plant testing and growing research. It could be a shoot. Could be a gamekeeper's plot. I could have his pheasant pens in it, and I tell you now, you start sneaking around a man's pheasant pens after dark. God, you're liable to come the wrong side of another human being. Okay. So again, these are all things to think about when you're stealth camping and when you're going out there. And don't get me wrong, wild camping, stealth camping, we've all done it. We've all enjoyed it. I tend to be a bit open and obvious about it, and I work on a principle that if somebody comes along with what you're doing, I'm in the middle of a hike, mate, I couldn't make it to my designated spot, I'm just going to stop here, one side, overnight, I'll be gone in the morning, there'll be no mess. Right? I've had it before now where people have told me, well, no, sorry, mate, pack your shit up, do one. But I've also had people say, yeah, fair enough, lad, just don't make a mess, and is there anything you need? Do you need any water or anything to top up with? Okay? It's your approach to people. Yeah, and it's that other thing, isn't it? Set up after dark and go before light. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy being out there. Part of it for me is actually watching the sunrise, watching the sun come up, sitting for a few hours, just looking at the environment, watching the wildlife. There's nothing finer than sitting on the edge of a woodland, watching wildlife do its thing, watching the deer, seeing the rabbits. If you're lucky enough, maybe a fox, badger, hares. I regularly go up to Oxford, see the hares up there. And again, it's about being in tune with nature. So the stealth side of it for me is about trying to get myself into a woods without disturbing the flora and fauna as much as possible, so that I can. It's almost like a feeling of acceptance into the woods or into the environment. It's almost like me walking in and saying, I'm here, I mean no harm, I'm not going to damage you or anything here, accept me. It's quite funny. You go in with that sort of mindset, it's almost like things can accept you, and you just seem to see more. Don't get me wrong, there are times I've been in places and I've had a distinct feeling doesn't want me here. For whatever reason, I'm not welcome here. And if I don't feel comfortable, I'll move. I'll move. And it could be anything. It could be the courting couple over the hedge that I haven't heard or seen. So I trust my instincts. If my instincts say this isn't right, it's not right. It's time to move. So that's, and see, I'm taking notes these days. And of course, when you are out there this summer, just be aware of all the risks. Okay, you know, people are always talking about trees, widow makers, and that. Well, the trouble is, we've had a couple of good storms, a couple of good blows this winter. There have been no leaves on the trees, and now the leaves are all starting to come out. And if you've got a bit of debris up there, a branch has dropped from further up, sitting on a branch, as the leaves come on, more and more weight, a little bit of rain, that can add a hell of a lot of weight to a branch. So yeah, that could be a risk and a downfall. Just something to be aware of. And of course, wildlife, you know, the flora and the fauna, the stingy, nasty, prickly bushes and plants that initially we've all had it. You don't think nothing of it. You get a bramble drag across your calf, and you think, "Oh, you swine! That stings." And then a couple of days later, you're having a shower, sorting your admin out, and you look down, and you're like, "Blimey, that looks a bit manky and nasty." And you're off to the med centre. It's a course of antibiotics. Okay, so even the slightest scratch can turn nasty in that environment. And then you've got the insects. God, I'm so glad I don't live in Australia. You know, but in the UK, you don't want to end up setting up right next to a wasp nest. Okay, them buggers, they might, they're tricky. They wasps sort of do this thing where they go, "There's a bloke setting up a tent there. We'll go sting him. We'll let him put his tent up first. We'll let him sort his kit out first and think he's comfortable and safe. Then we'll all go sting him." Yeah, you're an animal. You're part of nature. That's just for anybody that's not seeing the comments. I'm just responding to a comment there. We're part of nature. We are an animal. If you behave like the other wildlife, they adapt to you very, very quickly. They don't see you as a threat. So that's it. Yeah, trees, weights, that's it. And deer. Yes. Anybody that's worked with deer, maybe in management and that, just please be careful. Like I said last week, a deer's legs are mighty powerful things, and those hooves are deadly sharp. Okay, I've known on several occasions people have picked up deer and put them in the back of vehicles, take them to the vets, or even to take them home, and they've come round. In fact, I'll give you a funny story in a minute. And yeah, a deer inside a car that's just regained consciousness after being injured. That's a mighty powerful thing, and it will kill you. There's no two ways about it. It will. People always talk about the rut. The rut is a dangerous time, especially with the larger breeds of deer, because they become super aggressive and lose their fear of humans. But even a small deer, right, if you try and pin it down and that, it's got a lot of strength and power, and it will shred you. Okay, funny little side story for you. So as you know, years ago, I used to do humane dispatch, which means you get called out. You're on a rota, and you're called out to dispatch things at the side of the road more often than not, where they can't bring in a vet or there's not a vet available, and the animal is obviously suffering. And you go in and you dispatch it, usually using a firearm, using the most humane methods you can. And I get a phone call in the early hours of the morning, in bed. Hello, yeah, sorry, please. Here, you're on the dispatch list? Are you available? Yeah. Give us 2 minutes. I'll give us the details. Okay, yeah, we've got a wild animal and a car situation about 10 miles from you. Can you go out and sort the situation? There is a police officer present. So if you go and see him, they've got the road cordoned off. So, brilliant, no problem. Grab the kit that I need, chuck it in my motor, and off I go. And I drive 10 miles out to a place near, well, it's 10 miles from here, it's a place called Normandy. And I'm driving down this, it's an A road, but it's quite rural. I'm driving down it, and eventually I see the blue flashing light. Pull up behind it, put my hazards on, high vis vest on, because you've got to go through all the health and safety things, get out and identify myself to the police officer. Hi mate, I'm the guy here to do the humane dispatch. What have you got for me? And stood with him is this tiny little lady. I know, little old lady. She must have been in her 80s. She was about 4'5". Nothing to her. Proper blue rinse. Little sweet granny. And she said, "It's in my car." I said, "Pardon?" She's in my car. I said, "What's in your car?" And she said, "It's a badger." And I looked at the police officer and said, what the fuck's going on? I'm here to do humane dispatch. I can't shoot something in a car. And he said, "Well, didn't know what else to do." He said, "But it's enough making a mess at the inside of her car." So I walked down, and it was a Mini. Little, I remember it to this day, a little, it was, I call it sand brown, but you all know that Leyland sort of mustardy brown. Right? It was that colour. And I get down, and as I'm the last few feet walked up to this Mini, it's rocking like that. And I could hear this badger giving it what hell in there. And I thought, this will be interesting. So I had a look through the window, and sure as hell's hell, this badger is going around the inside of this car like a lunatic. He's gone through the seats. He's actually ripped the backs out of the seats completely. He's gone through them. He's gone down through the base of the seats. He's just trying to get out of this box he's in that doesn't smell right. He's absolutely fuming. So coppers wondered, "What are you going to do?" I said, "Stand back a minute," and I just opened the door. And this badger, like that, literally out across the road, grunting as he went, and off. That was it, through the hedge, gone. And I looked at the copper and said, "Why didn't you do that?" So, "Oh, mate," he said, "I don't know enough about that sort of thing." He said, "I didn't want to do it." He said, "It looked a bit dangerous to me." So definitely trashed her car. And yeah, little old lady's come wandering down, and she looks at me and she says, "Well," she said, that was an experience." And I said, "Well, what happened?" She said, "Well, I was just driving down through Normandy Village there." And she said, "The badger ran out, and I hit it." And it went, "Dum-dum-dum." She said, "And I come back." And she said, "It was still breathing, and it was laying in the road." And I thought, "Well, I'll take it home and I'll put it in the shed, and in the morning I'll phone a vet." She said, "So I managed to drag it into the car." And she said, "That took a lot of doing." She said, "And I got it on the passenger seat, and I started driving, And all of a sudden, it just sat up and looked at me. She said, at which point, I just sort of did an emergency stop and got out the car, shut the door. She said, and walked back to the phone box and phoned the police. She said, it's when this young man turned up. I was like, okay. I said, well, I'm sorry, love. It's absolutely trashed the inside of your car. There's no way you're going to drive that. You've got no seat left. And she went, oh. She said, well, you'll have to give me the details for the insurance. I said, what details for the insurance? She said, well, if you're the guy they called out to sort out the badger, then obviously they're your responsibility. And I'm going to need a copy of your insurance for my insurance. I just looked at her. I said, sorry, love. I don't think that one had any insurance at all. I said, and if he did, it's only going to be third party. She wasn't amused. Anyhow, at this point, I said to the police that, you have to get somebody to recover the car. They did, and obviously they got her home. But again, people, unless you really know what you're doing with it, don't throw it in the van. Don't throw it in your car, especially in with you. Put it in the boot possibly, but not in with you. Anyhow, where are we now? Time 45 minutes. Shall we draw out these names? What do you reckon? Or shall we wait a bit? It's up to you guys. I'm going to swig of my cider and let somebody answer me while I read through their things. Yeah, got butted by deer. I tell you, he was lucky getting butted by that deer that it wasn't a spiker. Because at the end of the day, you'll get some roe deer. We used to, I don't know what they call them up here. Where I come from, we used to call them murderers. And they would just literally have a single pointed tine, or no, a pair of singly pointed tines. So it was like a single sharp horn. He got butted by that. That's going to do. That's why they were called murderers. Yeah. Yeah, I did. I got beat up by guinea fowl. So again, another wild animal that you can't trust. Birds. Okay. Driving to work, 5:30 one morning. I'm on duty that morning. I'm driving along, dead straight bit of road. And as I come over the brow of the hill, there is about 20 guinea fowl, right, all stood in the road. Now, I'm not going to kill something for the sake of killing it, so I've come to a stop. Hazards on the Land Rover. Come to a stop, looked out, all these guinea fowl, and they're all stood round a dead one, looking at it like that. So I thought, well, try and shoo them off the road. So I got out, and as I walked towards them, they all backed up. And I thought, well, they're obviously wondering what's happened to Frank here. I'll pick Frank up and I'll chuck him over the hedge, and they'll all clear off over the hedge as well. So I picked Frank up, and the second I picked dead Frank up, the buggers attacked me. Okay, we all seen videos of angry roosters where it was like that, but I've got about 10 of them all having a go at me. So it's a bit of a dance, a bit of a kick, and a bit of get off, you stupid buggers, and launched him over the hedge. At which point they all pretty much went with him. Guinea fowl. Never come across them before. Don't want to come across them again. Not unless it's on a plate with stuffing, Brussels sprouts, roast potatoes. Yeah, there's a lot of deer getting knocked down now because deer numbers have never been so high in the UK. They're absolutely through the roof, deer numbers. Got no natural predators for them except for the odd big cat. And shooting is in decline. So the management of deer is dying off. Downside of that, those that don't get hit by the cars end up breeding, and we end up with inbreeding. We end up with bucks breeding with their daughters, and then we ended up with three-legged deer that are cross-eyed, and just good wildlife management sometimes needs hard decisions. Draw it, Caroline says. Yep, sometimes you've got to show the buggers who's boss. There's, right, 500 names in there. Took me bloody hours to do this. I'm going to rope this out. I'm going to make this last. Took me ages putting that lot in there. In all fairness. Right. First one out of the hat. Okie doke. So the first one. So there we go. Piece of paper here. And as yet, I can't see what's on it. I don't know which way you want to do this. Do you want to do it that this one gets the meth stove, or does this one get the cook set? I'll put that question out to you guys. It's up to you to tell me which way around you want to do it. Is this the meth stove or is this the cook set? Lee Michael cook set. Okie doke. So, this is for the cook set. There we go. Dirty Faces. Dirty Faces, you've won the cook set. Congratulations. What I do, you can see my email over there. Chuck us an email. Let us know your details. And I'll get that off to you this week. Okay. And so this one is for the meth stove. The Heitman meth stove and cook set. There we go. Somebody said I dropped one. Drop it as well. Right, bear with me, guys. What the fuck did I do with that? I dropped it. Bear with me. Oh, bloody hell. Oh, best plan of mice and men. What have I done with that? Yeah. Hey? It's frozen, is it? It's what? I didn't drop one. No, I have dropped it. Sorry, guys. Do apologise. It's Kaz hollering to me saying, no, you didn't drop one. I have dropped it. Well, you'll have to take it from me. I did read it before I dropped it. How bloody typical that is. Has it gone up there? Up there? So I read the right balls of this, haven't I? I do apologise. Right. I'm going to redraw it. Okay? Please bear with me. I'm going to have to redraw it. In all fairness, I'm going to have to redraw it. I do apologise, guys. Chat amongst yourselves for 30 seconds. I'm going to give one last look around. And if I can't find it, I'm going to redraw it. Sod's law. Sod's law. I do apologise. Right. Okay, go. Guys, our next person is Ray. So, Ray Peerless, you're on there. My email is up there. If you can fire me out an email, mate, give me your details. And the Heitman Stove's coming to you. So well done, Ray. So let's see, done that. Dirty Faces has got the cook set. Dirty Faces, that'll be coming to you in the post. Ray Peerless, that one's going to be coming to you. Now, if you've not got what you wanted, I'm sorry. You can chat amongst yourselves and swap if you really want to. Please do it before the end of the evening tonight, so that me and Kaz can post it off whichever way round you want. Okay, that is the fairest way I can do it. I'm sorry I made a bit of a hash of the draw there. Best painting, all goes to pot. He sat there. I've spent all day, in fact, I've spent several days working out how we were going to do it, and it was trying to make it fair to everyone. I wanted to do it so you could see it being done, so it wasn't any sort of unfairness or anything like that. So, yeah, where are we going from here? Oh, tell you what, found a Gucci thing today. Was it yesterday? I was having a mooch around, as you do, in the local Poundland, looking at all the rubbish and trying to find me coffees and stuff, when I found these. Okay, get a good look at them, guys, because this is a brilliant addition to your kit. Those of you that already know about them, brilliant. So they come 2 blocks like that, 64 of these lighters in there, and they are lightweight. Break off like a bar of chocolate, and it gives you quite a fibrous edge, and that fibrous edge will take a spark from a flint or a ferro rod. Okay, ignites really easy, and I timed a burn just on one of those, literally lit it, just one, put it down, and that burnt for 7 minutes. Okay, and it burnt with a good flame, and there's no spirit in it, there's no alcohol in it, there's no oils in it. It burnt clean, it didn't give off any smoke, it gave off a fair bit of heat. It is just compressed wood fibre. If you were doing winter or really severe situations, if you hit that with a tiny little bit of hand sanitizer, that is going to go like a good one. Okay, that will light off a spark. So even when it's wet, if you hit it with a bit of sanitizer, it's going to get it going. Sweet, Ray. So again, pound shop, absolutely brilliant. I reckon 2 of those blocks, you'd probably make a brew on a small stove quite easily. So anyhow, that's that. That's the draw done. That's out of the way. That's 500 subscribers. We'll see what we're going to do next. See whether we're going to do 750 or do 1,000. Ray, Dirty, I hope you're both happy with what you get. Both brilliant bits of kit, and as I said to you in the past, I wouldn't put out anything I wouldn't recommend myself. I spend a lot of time trying things out, giving kits goes, and I'm a bit brutal with the gear as well when I test it, because my attitude to it, if it's going to fall apart or break, then it doesn't necessarily write it off, but it means you need to know where to go with it. Cheers for the congratulations on the 500 subscribers. Let's get to 1,000. And again, you're all my subscribers. You're all part of this. This is why we have the Social Sunday. Whole idea of this is for you guys to get together. You have a chat there. You make friends. You make connections. Share ideas. Hit me with ideas. Tell me what you want to see. Tell me what you'd like me to do. correct me if I get something wrong. You know, yes, I've been doing this thing for years, and sometimes we get set in our ways. Sometimes we miss new ideas, new techniques, new methods. Sometimes we are blinded to things. So because we become set in our ways. So sometimes, you know, I might sprout off a bit of information that was correct in 1978, but now it's changed. So if I ever do that, by all means, I won't ever be offended. You know, I'd rather have the right information or a rounded information. Like I'm always saying, it's tell me if I get it wrong. It's not a problem. If I do something you don't like, say, you know, come back, say, Mick, don't. I'd rather you didn't do that, or could you stay off that subject or this subject because it's a bit sensitive to somebody? Yep, I'm all for that. Just it's how you do it. It's communication. You know. As I'm always saying to people, is that if you come at me shouting and swearing, okay, the response is going to be swift, vicious, and final. However, if you come to me and say, "Excuse me, mate, you've been a total cock," I will normally look at you and go, "Yep, I do apologise, and show me where," you know, and I'll sort it out. Yeah, hit me with ideas. Hit me with ideas. Methods, techniques. There's plenty I've not done. There's absolutely plenty of methods that I've never used, never trialed, never used. I mean, friction fire. Did a video on it before. Over the years, I've done friction fire several times, but I'll be honest with you, unless I'm in a desert environment or very, very, very dry, warm Mediterranean style environment, it's not a go-to for me. It burns too many calories for too little effect. Yes, you can do it in the UK if you have the right materials, if you are in the right conditions. But I talk about survival. Okay, I talk about what to do when it goes wrong. Okay, part of being able to survive a situation is having some basic kit with you. Getting back to that, that's a good little link. Basic kit. We were saying the other day, I was saying about carrying a first aid pouch on you. So if you're away from camp, I mean, I've got my first aid kit up there. I've got over my shoulder there. That's my trauma kit. That tan bag there, I use that for groups of up to 10, and that has everything in it to deal with almost any situation, including diabetic attack. It's got a gluco kit or a hypo kit in there. It's got stuff for dealing with it's got the lot in there. Sucking chest wounds, the full works. However, you don't necessarily need to take a pouch with you. Okay. Lots of people do it different ways. So in the military, it was a first field dressing, and it was in a pocket in the sleeve, or it was in a pocket in the chest, and everybody in that unit wore it in the exact same place. So everybody knew where everybody else's first field dressing was. Me, these days, I don't like to have too much bulk up here because I'm already bulky there. But I do like to wear cargo pants with a cargo pocket. So on the right-hand side, I keep one of these, and I keep one of these, and they just sit in the pocket together. That's an Israeli bandage, and that will deal with any size wound that you've got, up 6 inches. Okay, it's a compression bandage with a pad. All right, it's easy to use, it's easy to apply if you need to self-apply. The other thing I carry, because we're working with axes, sharp implements, and so forth, okay, a tourniquet. A lot of people don't like them, and I get that. I understand that. However, if you're trained in the use of a tourniquet, it's a great bit of kit. It can save your life. If you've hit yourself in a major artery with your knife or with your axe or with a piece of timber, okay, and you are spurting blood out 3 or 4 feet across the forest floor, that's what's going to save your life. Okay, doesn't take 2 men to put on. It takes a simple bit of practice. When these first come, okay, this is all folded back on itself, all nice and tidy. What you want to do when you first get it is you want to unwrap it, pull it out like that, okay? Then come down, back on itself, back on itself, okay, and it will pretty much, he says, get it completely wrong, show you the wrong way of doing it. You want to make it big enough that it fits over a limb, okay, like that. So I get that over my thigh, get that over my leg. Take that piece back out the way, fold that up, fold that up. Now, the trick is to come over the top. I'll try and do it in front of the camera and show you. And this packing it this way is important, and I'll demonstrate why in a minute. Okay, pull that tag back, time tag, and just take it down. Ideally, you would like a little bit more than that floating out, so that if this arm or this arm is injured, okay, I can take this, flick it out. Okay, I can slide it up over my arm with one hand, and you practice this, practice it until you're happy and confident you've got it. Okay, then you wind it up. Now, don't, when you're practicing, wind it up to full tension. You will damage veins and muscles, but you wind it up. Okay, and you practice putting it on. Okay, practice putting it on yourself. Practice putting it on both arms, right? And when you get really good at it, you can literally do it one-handed. Okay, and then practice doing it on your legs. Practice doing it below the knee. Practice doing it above the knee and the upper thigh. Okay, and the reason I suggest that is because when you do need it, if you ever need one of these on yourself and you've not practiced, it's too late. Okay, the sort of things you've got minutes to do if you're bleeding. And again, I don't wish to scare anybody, but we're survivalists. Survival is about getting through the situation, and with practice and preparation, you will get through the situation. It becomes instinctive. It becomes simple. It becomes something that when the poo hits the fan, your brain's already geared up for it, and you tend to go, right, know what to do, and you act. And acting fast is essential. Also in that pocket, behind that, just to pad my leg a little bit, hypothermia blanket and some basic meds, anti-diarrhea tablets, antihistamines, okay, and some extremely strong, which for my use only, painkillers. Okay, that way you've got the essentials with you. You can leave your main first aid kit with your pack. Okay, you can go off into the woods, you're not carrying loads of weight, you haven't got an extra pouch bouncing on you, you've got that with you. Okay, that is the bare minimum you take. And again, go with the simple rule I was taught years ago, and it makes so much sense. Big dressings. Big dressings treat little wounds. Little dressings don't treat big wounds. Okay, and don't get into the whole sterilisation, flat, panic thing. If you have a piece of mouldy old wood, or your grotty old axe has gone through your leg, okay, sterilisation can get sorted out in the hospital. As long as you're not packing it with handfuls of dirt, okay, as good as it's going to get. Take a t-shirt off, put a t-shirt under the dressing. They've taught that for years. Again, that's what I would suggest you carry, because those two items are what are going to save you. All your minor things, oh dear, look, I've got a nasty little cut on my finger. You can sort out when you get back to the first aid kit. Okay, the splinter that you've got in your hand, you can sort it out when you get back to the first aid kit. The nasty cut, the nasty scrape, yeah, you sort that out when you get back to your main first aid kit. It's not going to kill you. The things that will kill you in what we do are going to usually be traumatic bleeds. Okay, and have the kit with you in that little pocket just for that situation. That's enough of that. God, depressing tonight, isn't it? Burn to death, bleed to death. So let's go on some fun stuff. Right, let's maybe go back through the comments, I suppose, and see what we've got. Sam, it won't take that long. We're building a community here, mate. remember when you first started out, how long it took you to get to your first 100 and then your first 200? You got all these people here are going to share your channel. I'm sharing it. Okay. So at the end of the day, we'll support one another. Whether other guys here have channels or not, they'll all help support and share. Excuse me. That should have been switched off. Nope. HMG Clothing have just released a flag collection. There you go. That's a company I follow. It's a veteran-owned company. HMG Clothing, well worth a look. A little bit expensive for me, but I might treat myself for my birthday. Got a couple of t-shirts in there that I do like. Okay, so we do get this heat wave. What would you carry in your car? Well, the obvious thing is going to be water. Okay, water and shelter. Now, this comes back to the Mylar blanket thing. If you're broken down in a car and in high temperatures, you sat inside a glass house. Okay, it's not going to help your situation at all. You want to get out into the shade. So ideally, you want to be on the shady side of the vehicle if it's safe to do so. If you're on the side of a motorway or something like that, obviously you're not. You're going to go up the embankment, get somewhere safe. And if you're really lucky, there'll be some, excuse me, my chicken's coming back. There might be some trees, bushes that you can shelter under. Don't panic about not being seen. The emergency service is going to be looking for your vehicle and will stop at your vehicle. As long as you've got eyes on that vehicle, you can go, hey, we're up here. Not a problem. Water, okay, always water, especially if you've got dogs, okay. There's no excuse for not having water in a vehicle, none whatsoever. Even local trips, all right, you've got to change it every few days, or put a Puri tab in it, put it in a dark container so it doesn't get sunlight to it, and store it in a boot, okay. A bit of sunblock. Another thing that's worth having in the car, and everybody forgets it. So you're there. It's a hot environment. If you've got your what you call your bug out kit with you, might have a tarp in there, so it's safe to do so. Rig a tarp out, create some shelter with that, and do it on the sunward side. Do that on the sunward side, okay, and leave all the doors and windows open, okay, and then shelter on the leeward side or the shady side. And what happens is any breeze that's coming through is going to come under that shade and start cooling, come through the interior of the car, cooling, and out your side. The other thing you can do is have one of these. We've all seen them, Mylar blankets, space blanket, okay? So it reflects. So it reflects heat off or it reflects heat in. So if you rig a lean-to shelter, and I mean just a basic lean-to shelter, it will help to reflect heat off. Even draped over the sunward side of the car will reflect the sun's rays back away from the car, okay? Also makes it very visible, okay? So again, one of those in the glove box. It's a simple thing. Diarrhea, okay? Any in fact, it doesn't have to be Diarrhea. That's just a brand name, but any electrolyte powder that's used for diarrhea treatment. Okay, you get them in the chemists, you can get them in supermarkets and that, you get them in packs, they're flavoured, they're quite pleasant. You want some of those in the car as well, because along with dehydration comes the loss of salts. And I quite often see people chucking water down their neck. That's fine. That will help your body keep cool. It will help you keep going. But if you can get some electrolytes into you as well, that'll really improve your well-being. That will help your body no end, because as you sweat the salts out and the minerals out of your body, these minerals and salts are essential to your body's ability to conduct electricity. Okay, those electrolytes are in your body, they're in your bloodstream, they're in your brain, they're in your muscle tissues, and they assist with the conduction of electricity, the signals sent around your body. And of course, the most important signals you have are all in there. And that's one of the reasons with heat stroke, dehydration, and so forth, the body starts to think rationally. It starts to do stupid things. It starts to make people feel fine and funky, and it's only 25 miles out of the desert. I can tab it. Okay, it makes them irrational. It kills them. Okay, so it's almost the extreme opposite to hypothermia. So, water shell system. Remember, it can get cold at night, and if you haven't been exposed to heat through the day, and you've caught the sun, and something we've all experienced, you've caught the sun through the day, and then that night it's not particularly cold, but you're sitting there, you're like that, you're shivering like anything. Okay, thermal shock. So you want to be able to warm the body slightly. You want to keep your body comfortable. Okay, wet towel behind the neck, wet clothes, even damp the clothing, the collars. I love collars. Damp the collar, keep the collar wet. Okay, you'll see me wear a lot of these shirts in the summer. Ventil, lightweight, breathable. I can roll the collar up, drop the sleeves down. I've got a level of UV protection from it. Yeah, it's light enough to breathe through. It's got, this one hasn't, the other one has. The other one's got mesh under the arms. It helps the body to breathe. And it's loose clothing. Okay. Another good bit of kit to keep in the car. Keep your mag in the car. Okay. Brilliant in the cold. Absolutely brilliant in the heat. Okay. You've all seen people that live in the desert wearing it. Why do they wear it? Quite simple, because it helps to insulate the head. It keeps the heat out as well as keeping warmth in. So it creates a balance. It can be used to block sunlight from the eyes. It can be used to keep dust out of the mouth. It can even filter smoke to a level. Okay. So again, if you're ever caught in a forest fire, cover your mouth. Okay. Be careful when wetting materials to put over your mouth in a forest fire. Yes, it does work because it thickens the material up and it makes it act more like a filter. On the downside, you're also waterboarding yourself. So just you've got to have a balance between being able to breathe and choking yourself. Yeah, prepare things at home. Have stuff at home. Like Kaz says there, we always got a cold, wet flannel in the fridge inside a sandwich bag. Yeah, I'm out all day in the heat, and I'm quite prone to the heat, so I can come back and sort it out. Yeah, stripping off. God, that goes back to my childhood. God. My mum was always pretty good about it, but I can remember other family members. No, you don't want to be out there in your swimming trunks. Get the sun on you. Nothing like a bit of sunburn. Oh, they'll go brown. Yeah, doesn't. We learned so much in the last 20 years. Yeah, so hot weather, shade is your friend. Okay, breezes, try and be somewhere breezy. Okay, and hydrate. Hydrate. I can't quote that one enough. What else would I keep in the car for hot weather? I'll tell you what I do keep in the car. Even though I don't have a dog now, I keep a dog lead in the car. And I keep a foldable bowl in the car as well. As I have come across other people's dogs that have collapsed. Salt tabs, salt tabs. I tend to go more with the electrolyte mixes now because they give a better combination, but salt tabs will work for you. The electrolytes tend to give you just a little bit more in the minerals side. But yeah, pure tabs. That's another thing. In the glove box of the car, insect repellent wipes. Okay. Can't really do things like that. You know, there's nothing worse than being stuck somewhere and or you suddenly think, I'm gonna have to walk home. I'll wait for it to cool down, walk home in the dark. Yeah, it's that guy inside that cloud of mosquitoes. Bit of insect repellent. Okay, don't wipe your bum with it though. Never, ever wipe your bum with it. Okay, it's not a wet wipe. Yeah, just and don't poke it in your eye. Don't poke it in your mate's eye. And don't put it up your nose. It can be very uncomfortable. Sunblocks are standard. Yeah. I have a very oily skin anyhow, so I tend not to do too much with sunblocks. What I tend to wear is a hat, a nice hat with a brim, jungle formula deep, yeah, and I wear lots of loose clothing. I'll drop the clothing down over my arms and that, keep myself comfortable. Yeah, I do like the comment bum bag just after what I was talking about doing with insect repellent. And I quote that from experience. It's very easy in the dark to confuse your wet wipes with your mosquito wipes. Yeah, it's not a good move. Keeps you alert, but it's not a good move. So, let's finish that one off. So, but look back through my comments. Sorry, I'm being rude to anybody that's not watching with the comments on, but just. Yeah. Yeah, it's Sam, use your skills, mate. Be yourself. Do your thing. Okay, smudge. Yeah. So smudging. If you're gonna have a fire, have a smudge or a citronella candle. They work quite well. They'll keep the old mozzies away. There's always one, Mac. There's always one. Dehydrated water. You can show me where I can buy dehydrated water. I'll buy it and carry it. And again, know your body as well. So dehydration, we all know the rules of dehydration. Hopefully, your skin starts to get a little bit sort of loose. Okay, but it's losing the moisture content. Your body's starting to pull fluids in. Yeah, well, we're getting delicate now, but your urine will start to be warm and you'll start to do it less. Okay, you'll actually feel the heat. It will start to smell, obviously, where your body hasn't got enough fluids in it to process the grotty stuff in your body and get it out properly. And it will darken up. Your mouth will dry. Your eyes will dry. Your lips will start to crack because you're not able to moisten them regularly. So chapstick is a bonus. Okay. You can do tricks like sucking on a pebble, okay, but make sure the pebble's clean and not hot. Okay, so here we go. Hopefully there are no children watching. That's the difference between a man in the desert and a bulldozer. One's got hydraulics, the other one's got dry. So there we go. Yeah, so so that's your dehydration for you. You'll start to get a headache. You'll start to feel possibly dizzy. You start to become a bit irrational. And the real grotty thing isn't dehydration. It's heat stroke. Heat stroke can come on like that, especially when you're exerting yourself. Okay, the difference between heat stroke and dehydration is a lack of fluid in the body. Okay, heat stroke is when the core temperature of the body is pushed up above its natural limits, and it kills very, very fast if it's not treated. Okay, lots of it is through exertion in heat, people working hard. Also can be triggered by somebody being under the weather and heat. The body's not functioning to its full efficiency. You'll just notice straight away, again, very similar to hypothermia, and the symptoms start to slur a little bit, might get a little bit wobbly, might want to stop sitting or start sitting down, might start rambling on about things. They'll start telling you, no, I'm fine, mate, I'm fine, I can keep going, and I've seen it myself. And guys sitting there going, no, honestly, guys, I'm all right, over like that. You've got to act then, you've got to cool them, okay? And it's no good, you've got to cool them gently and carefully. You start throwing them into cold water, their body, the external part of their body feels cold to their brain. Right? So their brain, if you suddenly cool them even further, will try and pull all the blood in to keep the core warm. You need to cool them slowly. So you need tepid drinks to get the fluids into them. Okay, you need to get them into the shade. You need to get the clothing off them. You need to get the air around them. You need to get them sat upright. Don't lay them down, sit them upright. Expose as much of their body to the air as possible. If you can lift their legs up, okay, do so. If it means one guy's got to sit behind him, just hold their shoulders, but try and have a gap between him and them so that you can get the air flowing around him and he's not putting his body heat in. Okay, get the fluids into them if they're conscious, and seek emergency aid immediately. Okay, that person needs to go to hospital. It's as simple as that. If it means calling in a mountain rescue, if it means calling in an air rescue, if it means calling in a medivac, if it means giving up the weekend's events, piling him in a car and rushing him to the A&E, you do so. Okay, same as you would with a hypothermia patient. Oh yeah. If you're taking electrolytes, you can overdo it. You know what it says on the pack, and again, with any medical treatment, follow the instructions given. Okay. There's a maximum amount of electrolytes you can put into the human body, or you will do the same thing as like taking a salt tab. Take one salt tab. Okay, you start taking 2 or 3 salt tabs because that one made you feel better, it makes you even worse. Paracetamol's the same thing. I don't carry paracetamol in my kit for me, purely and simply because I don't like it. And paracetamol is a good analgesia. It's a very good pain reliever. However, it's one that is easy to misuse and go over the limits on, and that is catastrophic and the damage it does. Okay, so know your pain relief. Sometimes it's good to be able to feel the pain. Okay, remembering why pain is there. Pain is there telling you you have damaged something or something is not working right, and it's telling you to go easy on it. Accept the pain, feel the pain, be the pain. It's like camouflage and concealment. See the bush, feel the bush, be the bush. Okay. Oh, so, and again, also remember at all times that things like screech, drink powders, squashes, whatever you're putting in your bottles is fine for you. Make sure everybody else within your group is aware of what you have in your water bottle, just in case there's somebody that has an allergic reaction to the kit you're carrying. There are people out there that can be allergic to things like blackcurrant, orange. You know, I'm very sensitive to orange. It's not makes makes me ill. Okay, so again, be aware of what your group have. I know it can sometimes take the fun out of a trip out with mates, turning around them beforehand and just saying, right guys, just for your knowledge, first aid kit is there. Got this, and this. Is there anybody here just have any problems? Has there anybody got any allergies I know about? And again, it's going out in the woods. Are they allergic to a certain plant? Yeah. Are they allergic to certain plants? Some people get a really severe reaction to nettles, brings in anaphylactic shock. Are they going to be B sensitive or wasp sensitive? Again, anaphylaxis again. Okay, so if you've got that bit, and it's 30 seconds, isn't it? Before you go, have you got any bloody allergies we all know about, just in case anybody gets stung up there or gets hurt? Right? I agree. And it's worth knowing, just having that little bit of knowledge. Okay. And yeah, I carry antihistamines with me because I've got allergies. So I carry antihistamine tablets if somebody's with me and they start showing signs of an allergic reaction, then I'll give them some of my histamines. Okay. And I will immediately, any allergic reaction, straight away, 999. All right. If it leads to a swelling of the airways and anaphylaxis, then unless you're a surgeon, that person's in so much trouble. Okay. If you've got antihistamines, you won't always stop it, but you can slow it down. It will assist, and make sure that the hospital or the paramedics, when they arrive, know. You all see paramedics with one of these. In the military, it was a standard piece of kit. No more than morphine, such and such time. Okay. Or on the tourniquet, the time the tourniquet was put on. Or paracetamol. Okay. Aspirin, whatever you're given. Why is it on there? Another one that I had to deal with a snake bite last year in the UK. It was an adder bite. Okay. I was providing assistance with a film crew, and one of the guys saw an adder, and it was near the horses. So he decided the best thing to do was pick it up, throw it in the bush. And he picked it up, and it tagged him on the arm, right back there. And it was a good bite as well. It was a really good bite. And the medic that was on site, basically the message came back to me from the medic, could I get my ass up there? He'd never ever dealt with a snake bite in his life, which is fine. He's never seen one. Lucky for me, I have. So the first thing I do when I get up there is I turn around to people and say, right, is it positively identified as an adder? Yes. And I got a Sharpie and I ringed the mark that was swelling out from the bite. And I ringed that and I wrote a time on it. Okay. I then got him sat down quietly, calmly, got him as calm as I can. Okay. Got the limb relaxed beside him. So chatting to him, saying, look, you ain't going to die from this. Okay. It won't kill you, but it's going to hurt like hell. And you're going to need a bit of hospital treatment. Arranged for an ambulance to come in for him, which had already been called for, and I just sat with him, kept him calm, kept him relaxed. Don't interfere with snake bites. Don't put ice on them. Don't put heat on them. Do not ever try and suck the poison out. Don't elevate it. Okay. Obviously, what you're doing is you're letting that venom come straight into the circulatory system in a large amount. Ideally, keep it just in his lap, below his heart. Okay. Let the body work its way around, work it into the system. Slowly, don't start throwing tourniquets on and things like that because it's not needed. Not in the UK, not for an adder bite. Okay. Got to hospital and I got a nice message back from him 2 days later with a picture of him sitting there with his arm up in a sling, and his arm, literally from his elbow to his fingertips, was twice the size. It was really, really swollen, very, very painful. But got it sorted out. And one of the feedbacks I got from the doctor who dealt with it was, what clever clogs ringed it. And I was like, that was me. It's brilliant. Because the first thing that he saw when he came in was how much the swelling had increased from the time that was put in, which gave him a gauge of how much venom was in there and how the body was reacting to it. As simple as that. Okay. So again, have a Sharpie in your first aid kit. If a guy loses, you're dealing with multiple casualties. So you got a car accident, 2 or 3 people hurt. Guy's been knocked out over there, but he's come round and he's sat there and he's Sharpie on his hand, right? Put on there, knocked out. Okay. He's got to go to hospital. I've seen it time and time again. Were you knocked out? No. That's fine. Yeah. A lot of people get knocked out, don't even realise they've been knocked out. Okay. Write it on there. Lost consciousness, knocked out. So it's the doctors look at it and it just makes them go, oh, right. Somebody has letting us know this guy had lost consciousness. Now we can start looking for a brain bleed. Now we can start looking for an injury to the head. Okay. If he's lucky, there won't be a problem, but it gives them the opportunity to find it before it becomes a problem. Casualties are funny old things. I'll have more casualties turn around to me and say, yeah, I'm fine, mate, and then go downhill than I've ever had sit there go, oh, it's really, really bad. You know? And that's partly ego. Yeah, if you're using most modern tourniquets, mate, will have on them time. Okay, time you apply the tourniquet. In the old teaching, the tourniquet would be released every so many minutes. If it's a massive traumatic bleed and you've got to judge the situation by yourself, I would only apply it in the event that it was a bleed I could not get under control. First rule, put the dressing on. Try the compression dressing. If that does not stop or slow the bleeding, go to a tourniquet. Put the tourniquet on, write the time on it with Sharpie, or if you can't write time, make a note of the time, even if it's just mentally, so when the ambulance arrives, you can say to them, tourniquet went on at. Okay? Now, depending on your skill set and your skill level, there are some say release the tourniquet and see if you've now got the bleeding under control. Okay, and then put it back up. It depends on your situation and your environment. If you're going to be dragging that person's body through the undergrowth for days and days and days, yes. Okay. Once you think it's under control, release it slowly and gently. See if it's under control. If it's under control, take the tourniquet off. Leave it in place in case you need to reapply it if they knock or injure the wound. It will allow blood supply back to that part of the body, to everywhere other than the injury, obviously. The injury is under pressure. But you've just got to use common sense with it. And remember this, the old teaching was what knackered things up. This old teaching of, well, you know, you cause him to lose his leg and they'd sue you. Okay, so know 2 things. One, if you apply first aid in UK to somebody in an emergency with the honest belief that you're doing it to prevent their death and save their life, nobody will prosecute you. It is called the Samaritan's Act. It was enacted in law, right? At the end of the day, you are doing what you felt you could do for that person. Yeah, if there's time for a tourniquet and time for an Israeli, but you just got to judge the injury yourself. I would always go for my Israeli bandage first. I'd always go for a dressing first, and if I could get it under control with the dressing, so I would. Okay, the tourniquet is a last ditch, and the tourniquet is just there for that situation where it will not, under any circumstances, come under control. Okay, or if you have an amputation. If you have a traumatic amputation, then I would apply the tourniquet straight away above the amputation, because you're not going to kill anything below it anyhow. And bear in mind, all these, and I must reiterate, I am not a medical professional. I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm just saying this is what I would do in emergency. Okay, this is just my advice. Go and get training. I'm not licensed and I'm not in a position to give you medical advice. This is just what I would do. Okay, this is personal from experience, what I've seen and what I've learned. So, and at the end of the day, If you haven't got a tourniquet, go to whatever else you can find. Ideally something that is an inch or wider. But if worst case scenario, then a bootlace. If the person is bleeding that heavily, you have no other way of controlling it. Do what you've got to do. Okay. Anyhow, that's enough of that. So, yeah, let's get off that subject. That's a bit of a depressing one for the pub on a Sunday night. Anyhow, Mickey's Bar. So I will say, quite happy with this. That little guy that was in the Morrison's, thank you very much. I'm enjoying my Thatcher's Haze. So any of you out there like a nice, refreshing, crisp, slightly sweet cider, it is yummy. 4.3%, so it's not too powerful. Okay. And for a cloudy cider, that's very refreshing. Yeah, Celox. Okie dokes. Celox granules made from ground shrimp or shrimp shells. And you won't have an allergic reaction to them. There's never been a shellfish reaction to them. Don't get them in the eyes. Don't get them in the mouth. Keep them away from airwaves. But an absolutely brilliant hemostatic control agent. You can also get dressings like that, Trauma Fix, and you can also get dressings that are that size that have already got a hemostatic agent in them. Okay, brilliant kit. But again, it's to only ever use it for a real major bleed. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't know, this sounds bad. My most common first aid kit item for myself, and of course I wouldn't use it on anybody else, roll of insulation tape. Okay, invariably when I'm out, I'm either going to be working on bikes, so my hands are getting oily, greasy, dirty. I'm up the woods, my hands are getting dirty, oily, greasy, wet, muddy. If I pick up something and I've got a bit of an injury, I'll use that instead of a plaster, just to bind it and seal it until I get home, until I can clean it, sort it out properly. Reason being, that is waterproof. Okay, it will prevent any further ingress for anything nasty. Now, any medical professional will spit bullets and swear at you, but I don't have the time to stop and make sure that my plaster is nicely fitted and that everything is all clean and perfect. Invariably, I'm working or I'm in an environment where I'm extremely busy. I'm not going to stop for a little scratch or a little cut. Okay, I'm going to tape it up, clean it up, and sort it out when I need to. Obviously, I'm aware of things like infections. So, yeah, if I start getting numbing or start getting smelly finger, then obviously I know I've got an infection. I need to get it treated. Do courses. Do first aid courses. Make that an essential part of your survival skills. Do you use the duct tape on the cat? Duct tape. 40 years of turning meow, meow, meow into oh, you use duct tape on the injury. I didn't use duct tape on a cat. That'll stop the bastard biting you. A picture of him taped to the ceiling. And then stay there. Stop biting. You're not coming down till you stop biting. My mate Phil, across the way, Phil Burson, his Mrs. Tracy, got me a cigarette lighter. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate the sentiment. So, yeah, kit you can carry. And again, I mean, you see from the wall behind me, I can weigh myself down to high heavens. Okay. Now that's years of collecting kit, bits and pieces, trying things out. And I've got different kit for different roles. I've got kit that's there, so if I'm taking out a first timer, they've got something they can borrow. I can lend them kit. I bought kit that I've tried with and found I didn't like, and I'll be honest with you, if you get something you find you don't like, pass it on. All right? I know that sounds a bit harsh and unfair, but just because you don't like it, don't get on with it. There might be somebody else out there that, you know, is struggling and will appreciate it. Okay, so you can pass it on, pass it on. It's what it's about. It's about sharing knowledge, share equipment, share tools, share the love of it. Yeah, yeah. Belts, adaptability. One of the belts I use these days is an elasticated tactical belt, and the clip system on that it's designed so that can double up as a tourniquet, and it can also actually works very well as a leg splint. So if I had somebody who's obviously broken a leg or has an injury to the leg, I can use that belt. It breaks down into two and then clips back on itself, and I can use that to help splint a leg. And again, in a lot of cases, you don't want to be doing things like that. Let the medical professionals do it. Okay. 58 pattern webbing. I don't know, you guys seen how much 58 pattern webbing sells for now? I sold some magazine pouches 2 years ago. I didn't think anybody would be interested, but they're banging out the. Oh, we got current Paris there, obviously chatting away, heavy drops. Yeah, Lee, you'd be surprised what it's worth now, mate. There's people go potty for it. Yeah. I've even recently been asked if I could find Bren gum pouches. A friend of mine, desperately looking for Bren gum pouches. He's got himself a Bren gum for his reenactment. And again, so there's another field that's, if you're interested in kits, always worth looking at. Is some of the reenactors, some of the gear that they have and they make now, and they make it to the original design and patterns. Absolutely fantastic. So if you're looking for a retro kit, always worth a look through that way. The old poncho roll. Yeah, some of the old gear, people knocked it. It's all evolution. The new kit's adapted for different terrains, different environments, and different usages. Unfortunately, we tend to be blinkered on what's happening now. So gear was always engineered towards the most likely conflict that we had, and then you find us going off to somewhere like Iraq, and all of a sudden you've got thousands of British servicemen running around in Iraq in DPM. Okay, which, you know, Abdul, have you seen all the bushes? You know, so it's the kit adapts. It's where multicam comes in. I know a lot of people don't like multicam. Yeah, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's a disruptive pattern. That's all it's meant to be. Okay, you then adapt that. You can't put on DPM and stand in a bush and expect to not be seen. Yeah, adapt your kit, make it fit, make it how you need it. So I did get somebody ask me the other day, why Druid Mitch? Okay, and I'll put this one out there just for the once for you guys. Whilst the channel's still small, so people understand. In my travels over the years, and in my meetings of many, many different peoples from many different walks of life, I became quite in tune and gained a love of all things natural. And I found a spiritualness in it. But I could never put my hand and never wanted to give a name to a belief. Not one for organised belief, until I met a druid. And the druid taught me that all belief and all faith is good. You know? Good people are good people, bad people are bad people. If you're a good person of good faith and good heart, doesn't matter what the faith is, it's a good thing. Okay? Taught me to respect that, respect all other people's beliefs, but also opened my eyes to a wisdom and the understanding of our place in nature and on this planet. Okay? Hence, Druid Mish. It's something I studied for years and something I'm into. And that's as far as I'm ever going to go down the religious path with you guys. But know this, I'm always there if somebody needs to talk. Okay? Sam, why you gone quiet, mate? Sam, the thing is with MTP and any camouflage, okay, all camouflage is shite. Okay, it's what you add to the camouflage and how you adapt the camouflage, how you adapt the material. Okay, so if you do something like a sniper's course, the first thing I tell you is your base clothes layer makes no odds whatsoever. It's what you apply to that, how you adapt it, how you change yourself to match the environment around you. So it's about dressing up the base. It's just a base layer. MTP is just a base layer. When you look at the conflicts we've been involved in the last 30 years, MTP was an adaptation of camouflage to suit those environments, looking at a prediction that the likelihood was we were going to be involved in more of the same. Okay. The DPM was developed for the British Army of the Rhine, and that was based on basically northern European forests. Okay, absolutely pointless in an urban or a desert environment. So again, it's how you adapt it. Well, me and Mac this week, me and Mac are disappearing out to a little woodland, the beta site. It's in one of my early videos, and this is a truly wild site. Okay, this gets no or very, very minimal human interaction. I have permission to be there. It's full of wildlife. It's as natural can be. It's not a big site, but it's been left for many, many years to become a wild wood. So we're going to go up there. We're going to have a simple day. The first video will probably be just us going up and having a peruse, looking at the environment, working out what we can do with later videos. We might do a bit of a demo on a bit of stealth camping or something. We could also we'll probably try a couple of different cook sets up there and that. And we're just going to have a chilled day of it, have a chat. Future videos are coming up, wild fishing. Okay. Or what I like to recall to me and Max sitting chuckling about it, go back to being 10 again. Okay. So we do have a waterway where we have permission to fish. It's private property. And we're going to go back to some very, very basic legal fishing techniques from a survival point of view, and also for a bit of fun, see what's there. Yeah, unfortunately, we would catch and cook there, if there was anything worth catching and cooking. But what we will do, we will adapt to that. I've got to look at the water quality, what feeds into it, where it comes from, where it's going. I've also got to look into EA rules and regulations on it. I mean, obviously, if it was when we go up to Scotland, we'll see if we can do a trout. I've got permission on a stretch of the Speen up there, so if we can get permission, or no, I've got permission on a stretch of Speen. If it's in season, it's the right time of year and the right conditions, we might see if we can do a catch and cook up there with trout. I'm not interested in hitting the salmon up there because, again, the salmon numbers are so low. I wouldn't want to. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it. Same place. I'm also been asked to take some of the rabbits off, so there will be a hunt video. Say hunting video. No, hunting video is one thing. It's pest control. It is reducing the rabbit numbers to manage them because they're becoming a risk to the livestock. So I should bring the numbers down, and obviously I don't want to waste the meat there, so the meat will be used responsibly. So we'll do a video there. Might make a nice rabbit curry or something. If that's what you guys want to see as well, you might want to see that sort of thing. That's keep you guys happy. Anyhow, so that's it. We're coming up to 2 hours. Okay, 4 minutes off 2 hours, guys. As usual, I'm going to sit back for a few minutes, finish my cigar, finish my cider, watch the comments coming up. Thank you very much for joining me at the. Well, just thank you very much, you hog hunters, for joining me on the Sunday Social with Hampshire Outdoors and Survival. As always, love those you do, forgive those you don't. Please don't forget to hit the like button and to ring that notification bell for future notifications of videos. Okay, other than that, have a great time. Be good, be safe. Yeah, get out there, enjoy the countryside. Great for the mental health. Have some fun. Mana, you want a demo using a poncho? Okie doke. I'll do you a demo using a poncho this week. Dakota fire hole? Yeah. We're up to Dakota fire hole. Good system. Actually brilliant system. Again, you've got to be a bit cautious about the environment. Yeah. I shall use a poncho. I shall poncho my shelter up, or I shall poncho my shelter up. I shall poncho my shelter this week. Nice to see the ladies joining us. Thank you very much for coming. This is not in any way a sexist group or organisation. Women in survival, I'd rather take a lady with me than a bloke. 9 times out of 10, tend to be very level-headed. In my career, I've had to teach a lot of people firearms, and I tell you what, I've always found it a lot easier and a lot more. A lot easier to teach a lady to shoot than a man to shoot. And I've also found that when it comes to survival skills, women have an instinct for it. I've been doing this for years, and women have a very good natural instinct for survival. So, you ladies that have joined us tonight, thank you for coming. And if there's anything you want me to share, anything you want to discuss, anything you ever want me to cover, by all means do. You won't make this old boy blush. Brown trout. Cheers, Sam. Stay safe, be good. Lee Michael. We're not going to get into the ladies' hypothermia sleeping bag survival thing. Yes. That is not the reason I'm suggesting it. Dirty Faces, good night and congratulations. Ray, good night, congratulations. Sláinte. I think that's correct, isn't it? Hopefully it is. I just insulted you. And everybody have a blessed week. Cheers, Rick. Take it easy, mate. Have a good week. Look after yourself. Be happy. And I'll see you all next week. Okay? So be good, be fun. Yeah, have your adventures. And we will get out, do the video. The video will go up Friday as normal. I'll try and crack out a couple of shorts as well this week. So I shall be disappearing into the woods with Mac, and we'll see how that goes. Whether the weather does or whether the weather doesn't. Mac, I will hit you up tomorrow, mate, and we will sort out a day this week to clear out up the woods and or up to the beta site. I'll show you that. Thank you very, very much from the bottom of my heart. It's been a pleasure as always. I'll see you at Mickey's Bar next week, 2000 hours. Take care, Ray. Be good. Look after yourself, my friend. Speak soon. This is Mickey, Hampshire Outdoors and Survival. Please like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and please share me with other people. This is Mickey. Loving you all. Mickey out.